When is it time to quit? Now, being that this is the title of this video, you might be wondering, does this mean I'm quitting YouTube, or am I quitting teaching, or am I quitting some aspect of this? I will address that in a moment. When is it time to quit? Is it okay to ever quit? There is this thing that's drilled into our heads from a young age, especially if you live in this country, that you should never quit, and quitters never win and winners never quit. And there's just this emphasis of never quitting, never quitting. Is it ever wise to quit? Is quitting ever something we should do? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. There are times we need to stop doing something. If we never quit something, we could spend our entire lives doing things that we don't enjoy at all, that don't fulfill us, that aren't useful, that possibly even are destructive. So we need to reevaluate this idea of not quitting. Now, I will say this: never quit on your values. That is the most important thing. The most important thing is what you value, and what you value it because it's the most important. And I say thing, it's really not a thing. Value, a value. A value is a generalization about an experience that's important to you. So it's not a thing, it's an experience. And you can have low-level values, you can have high-level values. You can have a low-level value like fun, and that's important. Having fun is important. But you could have a high-level value like joy or happiness, peace. Those are really high-level values. So you never want to quit on those high-level values. But you do want to quit strategies. Strategies are the means to achieve a goal. You should quit goals sometimes. Sometimes the goals are not really going to fulfill your values. So how do you know when it's time to quit on a strategy or quit on a goal? Well, before I move on to that, just remember what I said about quitting on your values. When you quit on your values, that's when you're a broken person. That's when, and I've seen this happen to people, and it's very sad when people quit on their values. It's basically they're giving up on life, or they're handing over that responsibility to someone else, to like a guru, to maybe some charismatic spiritual leader or something like that. This idea that, we're giving up our responsibility for our lives. We're giving up any hope of fulfillment or fulfilling our highest values. Remember to never quit on those, and remember to be able to distinguish the difference between a goal and a strategy and a value. A goal is just something that you can achieve or acquire. It's a box that you can check. It's tangible in the sense that you either did it or you didn't. You either crossed that finish line or you did not cross that finish line. When it comes to goal setting, we need to know if we're getting closer to the goal or further away from the goal. A goal is something that you can use so that you have a measurement. You have a way of knowing, are you achieving something, or are you not achieving something? And the idea is to have that goal align with your values. And if it doesn't align with your values, and that's when you know it's time to quit that goal. How are you going to know that? Well, you can usually feel it as you're working toward the goal. If you're not experiencing any fulfillment, chances are when you achieve the goal, it's not going to give you fulfillment either. So if you're not experiencing it along the way, that's a good sign that it probably doesn't align with your values. Now, the same thing with the strategy. The strategy is just the means to achieve the goal. So if the strategy is not working, you throw it out. If the strategy is making you feel very unfulfilled, throw it out. I'll give an example. I started an insurance agency, and I know many of you watch my videos and you've heard me say this before. Well, the strategy there with the insurance agency was to buy my freedom, to be successful enough to have employees work for me, that I could step away from the business and it would run itself and I would still make money. Making money was the goal. Freedom was the value that I was after. Well, I wasn't very free because I was working so much. I wasn't very successful at it. I wasn't fulfilled by it at all. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. These were all things telling me that it was a good idea to quit. It took me a long time to be able to do it, but the strategy was not good. The goal wasn't working. And so I quit on the strategy and that particular goal, but what I didn't quit on was I did not quit on my values. And now I do have a business and a job that allows me a tremendous amount of freedom, as well as it fulfills me in my other values like passion and joy. What I realized was that looking back on my life and looking back at all the things that I had started and quit, really I didn't quit because I wasn't good enough. I didn't quit because I was a failure or I was lazy. It's easy to go back and judge yourself that way. So when you look back on the things that you would call failures, or things that you feel like you were a quitter because you quit on them, well, maybe you need to go back and revisit those things and check, well, what did you quit on? Did you quit on the value that you were after? Chances are you didn't. Chances are you quit on the strategy, or you quit the goal because it wasn't fulfilling you. If it was fulfilling you, that would have been the motivation you would have needed to continue forward. Maybe you didn't have the vision. Maybe you didn't make the connection of how that could fulfill one of your values, but you can know that now and then start over again. But what I discovered was that I was very persistent in fulfilling my values, even when I didn't understand what was happening. And so the times that I quit, I was quitting on the strategy or the goal, but persisting with aligning to my values. And that is one of the most important things you could take away from this video, is to realize that, and then realize that you're not a failure. It's not that you're not good enough. It's not that you're unmotivated. It's not that you don't have what it takes. It's just that maybe you're confusing these things. Maybe you're confusing goal, strategy, and values. And when you're very, very clear on your values, it clears up a lot of the other stuff. And once you connect with your values around something that you want, you'll never have to look for motivation. It will always be there. This is also why I warn people about valuing hard work, valuing discipline, valuing willpower. I don't recommend that you value those things. And when I say that, people go, what are you talking about? You don't value hard work, Damon? You don't value discipline and willpower? No, I don't. Those are strategies. Those are not values. Hard work itself is not going to fulfill you. Hard work that gets you to where you want to go, hard work that gets you to where you want to be, sure, that's a good strategy. All of us should be willing to work hard for what it is that we want. Doesn't mean we always have to work hard, and that's the problem with valuing hard work. I've seen people value hard work to the point that they don't realize that what they're doing isn't very effective. It's not very efficient. They're burning themselves out. They're doing stuff that they don't have to do. Why? Because they think they need to value hard work. But if your hard work actually is getting in your way because you're working harder than what you need to, or you could be taking that energy and focusing it in other places where there's real deficits that you need to fill, hard work is not in and of itself valuable. It's not in and of itself fulfilling. It's fulfilling when it gets you to where you want to go. So be willing to do hard work. Be willing to use hard work as a strategy, but also be willing to realize that it's not always necessary. Now, when it comes to willpower and discipline, if we're valuing those things, then we're disciplining ourselves, we're pushing ourselves, we're driving ourselves, which means we're fighting against ourselves. Again, we can use these as strategies, but even as strategies, I find these very limited, very, very limited. Because when you focus on your values and you're connected with your values, you don't need willpower and discipline. You're already motivated. And if you're dealing with resistance, well, instead of trying to will yourself through it or trying to discipline yourself through it, that's a great opportunity to integrate that resistance, which makes you a more complete whole human being. And you can go at what it is you want, your goals, without fighting yourself, and doing it with alignment, with integration, being fully whole, and being able to focus 100% yourself on what it is that you're wanting to create in your life and who you want to become. So this brings us to my journey, my YouTube journey. I've been doing this for more than 5 years. And whenever I first started, I did a video every single day. I was that enthusiastic about this. I wanted to grow my channel as fast as I could. I wanted to be really knowledgeable in NLP and be able to explain it clearly. I wanted to get over my shyness. I wanted to be able to teach to a camera, speak to a camera. I wanted to grow my business. These were the reasons why I started doing YouTube, and it worked. It worked incredibly well. It was a lot of hard work. There were a lot of disappointments, but along the way, this gave me everything that I wanted. It has been an extremely rewarding journey where the investment I made into it paid me back many times over and still is continuing to pay dividends. Where I find myself now is I am comfortably uncomfortable, or I'm uncomfortable with my comfort where I'm at with this channel. This channel was very challenging for several years, and that kept me sort of uncomfortable, and it kept me working toward making these videos even better, finding out what it was that you wanted to hear me talk about, talking about how to resolve problems using NLP. After a while, it really started to work, and I really started to have a pattern down, a way of putting these videos together where it was just about getting it done. It wasn't as challenging anymore. And for more than a year now, I've been feeling really unsatisfied with this channel and the videos that I've been doing. And I don't mean 100% unsatisfied, and I don't mean that I haven't still enjoyed it. And it doesn't mean I still don't love hearing from you and the comments that you leave me. And I love responding to them. I always respond to all the comments. I love that interaction. I love the relationship that I have with you, the viewer. But I can't pretend like I'm fully satisfied with this anymore, because I'm not. And like I said, I've been feeling it for a long time. And from time to time, I've even did videos where I said, I'm changing things up. I did this at the beginning of the year. I was like, okay, I'm changing things up. I'm changing the way my channel looks. I'm changing the name of the channel. I've already changed the name twice since I started, but I never really changed anything. It was more like I was just moving furniture around. It wasn't really like okay, now this is like a different way of going about my videos, or a new format. I just kept slipping back into the old pattern, the old way that I've been doing videos, which hasn't really changed too much in the 5.5 years that I've been doing this. And so now I finally had to come to terms with this, that I can't keep doing this because I don't feel good about it. I don't feel like I'm putting my best work out there. And I do feel a certain amount of responsibility to you, the viewer, to give you the best of me, to give you all of me in these videos, and that this really is my job. I don't like to think of it as a job. And actually using that word just kind of strikes me right now. I'm just thinking about it. It's like, well, I started doing this because I didn't want to have a job. This hasn't felt like a job for the majority of the time that I've been doing it, but now actually it is starting to feel like a job. And that's a good indication to me that something's not right. If it feels like a job, then it's time to do something different. So what I've decided to do, and I've consulted with people very close to me, both in the business and on a personal level, to get some feedback, to get some clarity. What I've decided to do is I want to make better videos. I'm not quitting. I couldn't imagine quitting doing this. So if you were thinking that that's where I was going with this, that's not. It's not where I'm going with this. I love doing this. I really do. And like I said, YouTube has been one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever done. One of the best investments I have ever made in my time and my energy and my effort. And if you're watching this and you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, all I can say is the best time to start was like 10 years ago. The second best time to start is right now. And I'm totally ripping off a Zen saying, but it's so true. So it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of learning, but it is so worth it. Even if you don't know exactly what you're doing, that's okay. Like that kind of challenge is an amazing challenge, and that's what I'm looking for again. In a sense, I want to have a sense of like starting all over again, and I don't even know exactly what that's going to look like yet. That's exciting to me, and that's extremely scary to me, because I did figure out a lot of stuff. I do have this thing down to a certain extent. I could just keep doing these videos and keep growing in subscribers and viewers, and keep little by little incrementally building and growing. But that is not enough for me. I need to be challenged again. I need to sort of clean out all of the patterns, all of the influences of other YouTubers that I've been watching, and just, in a sense, start from fresh, start from a clean slate. Of course, it's never going to be that, because I still have my skills and my biases and my beliefs and everything that's going to affect the way that I make videos. But I really want to just sort of clean the slate and take more time planning these videos and put more effort into them and make them the absolute best that they can be. And so in order to do that, I've decided to cut back to one video a week. I've been doing 2 videos a week for almost 2 years now. And I really want to put my focus on quality rather than quantity. And I think that's going to serve my viewers, you, the viewers, the best, because you're going to get better quality content, and it's going to serve me better because it's going to make me more fulfilled and more motivated to keep coming back and making better and better videos. So there's really no bad news here, or at least I hope you don't see it as bad news that I will be doing one video a week rather than two. I think it's good news, and I'm up for this challenge. I'm up to sort of strip myself of all the things that I've learned and tend to fall back on and just kind of take for granted that I just kind of know how to do those things. And I want to put myself in a position where I'm actually back into the unknown, that scary, challenging unknown where I don't have it all figured out. And maybe the result of that is I do some videos that aren't that great. And maybe I won't publish them. Maybe I will anyway, just to see what the response is. But that's the journey now for me. This is the direction I'm going in. And I also find that I want to be more creative with these videos. I also want to share more of my personal life in these videos. I have been doing some vlogs recently over the past 2 years, and they've been received really well. And I think I can be of more help to people if I share certain things about my personal life, certainly not all of my personal life, but certain things about my personal life that I think could be motivating for you, or that could at least make you feel like you're not alone in some of the things that you're feeling and experiencing that for a lot of people feel very isolated. I've always been very honest about my shortcomings, my imperfections, my bouts with depression, which have really been behind me now, but I want to talk about those experiences because I know there's a lot of you dealing with that kind of stuff, and you're not alone. Nobody's perfect, and no matter how many of these YouTube gurus you see floating around posturing themselves as if they're perfect and never, had depression or never had these imperfections, it's just all complete nonsense. Like if you come off as being inhuman, there are certainly people who worship that, and I don't think that that's you, because you wouldn't be following me and you wouldn't be watching my videos if you were looking for perfection. If I can share more of myself that way, in a way that helps you and uplifts you, that's what I want to do. So your feedback is so welcome. Please let me know in the comments, like, what it is you would like to see more from me, talking about, or subjects that you want to hear from me, NLP, specifics about NLP, or my journey, my life, any of those things. I'm not a super private person. I don't mind talking a lot about my personal life if it's useful. So feel free to ask me whatever questions, and oftentimes I have made videos based on questions people have asked me in these comments right down here. So I welcome that, and I look forward to revamping the channel for real this time, and I look forward to getting your feedback on that. Take care, everybody.